Alright, it's now time to finally start building our Instagram app, and we're going to begin with the login and sign up screen, which will look like this. So it's pretty straightforward in terms of layout. We've got our Instagram logo at the top, we've got usernames and password fields with nice hints to tell the user what to do, and then we have a sign up button to run the process. I've also added a text view which will switch between sign up and login modes. So it's a nice easy way to display two different modes on one screen. And the way it works is the way you would expect. If we enter a username and maybe we don't enter a password, then it tells us that a username and password are required. If we do enter a password and attempt to sign up, then for now it just logs sign up successful. So it doesn't go on to a second screen or anything. We'll do that later on. But if we try and do something erroneous, like sign up with a username that already exists, it will tell us the message directly from Parse. Similarly, with logging in, I can log in using a correct username and password, and that will give me a login successful message. But if I try and use an incorrect one, then I get a message saying invalid username and password, and that's returned directly from Parse. So that's what we're trying to do. All the knowledge that you need we have already covered. So best of luck, time to pause the video and give it a shot. Go for it. Alright, I hope that went well. I'll begin over in activity-main.xml, and I'll start by grabbing a nice image to pop at the top there. So as always, the warning when you're using Google Images, if you're just making an app for fun, that's fine, but if you're using the image in a real app, make sure you have the rights to do so. So I'm just going to grab the Instagram logo and pick one that I think will work well. Let's have a look. This one. Great. So it's 1000 by 464, which is about right. So save image as, and I'll just pop it there on the desktop. And then find it in Finder or Windows Explorer if you're on Windows. And just before I add it, I'm going to remove the underscore and the hyphen, as they can cause problems in Android Studio. So I'll just call it Instagram logo.png and then Command or Control C to copy it. And then back over to Android Studio, and if we don't have a drawable folder there, we'll need to add one. So Control click New Directory, or right click New Directory on Windows, and then we'll call it Drawable, and then Control or Command V to paste our Instagram logo image in. Great. Now we're going to delete our text view, and we're going to drag in an image view in the usual way. And because we're now running Android Studio 2.2, it's going to automatically request an image. So just start typing Instagram, and there it is. So click OK, and there we go. So let's just adjust this slightly. So let's just change our width to match parent, and then our height, I'll try changing it to, let's say 50 dps. Okay, maybe a little more, 70 dp. We're not really worried about layout here, it's the login and sign up part that we're most focused on. Okay, so that will do. Now let's bring in our text field, So we'll start with a plain text one for the username. There we go. So we'll put the instructions right in there, enter your username, and we don't want a default value. There we go, and then same for password. Yep, we'll keep it as text password and enter your password. Okay, and then finally we'll need a button. Which will initially say sign up. Alright, so that will do for our layout. Now we'll just need to set some IDs. So this will be a username edit text. Update that everywhere. Password edit text. Update that everywhere. And then sign up button with an on click of sign up. Alright, so that all looks good. Now let's go back over to main activity and write our code. So essentially we want to run all our code when the sign up button is tapped, and we want to attempt to sign the user up using Parse. So let's have a go. We'll get rid of the code that we had before. And then we'll create our method, which I'll just remind myself what it was called. Sign up. And this of course will be called by a view, that is the button, which we'll just call view. So we'll need to get the username and password values from the edit texts here. So let's define those. So username edit text, and this is going to be an edit text found by its ID, and the ID is r.id dot username edit text. And the same for the password edit text. This is going to be an edit text. Find it by its ID, r.id dot password edit text. So I'll start by doing a quick check to see if either of those will be blank. So if username edit text dot get text dot toString is equal to an empty string, or password edit text dot get text dot toString is empty, then we'll do a toast. A username and password are required. If that's not the case, then we'll attempt to sign the user up. So we'll create a new Parse user called user, which is going to be a new Parse user. Then we'll set the username to username edit text dot get text dot toString, And we'll set the password to password edit text dot get text dot toString. Then we'll take our user and sign them up in the background with a new sign up callback. And then we'll check to see if our error is null. And if it is, for now, we'll just log sign up successful. And if it's not, we'll let the user know. So toast create a new toast. And I'm just going to display the message from the parse exception. So let's see how we might do that. So we don't want quite the toString. We saw that before, and that gives us a bunch of extra bits of data that we probably don't want to display to the user. But if we look here, get message, that looks like a very relevant thing. So let's try that out and see if that works. All right. So now we should have a working sign-up system that checks for the existence of a username and a password. And if the user has entered both, then it attempts to sign the user up. And if that fails, then it will display a message to the user. All right, let's have a look. And here we go. So first off, let's test what happens if I try and sign up. And interestingly, we get this error here, that the username cannot be missing or blank. And I thought I'd leave that error in because it's a very common one, that if you want to check a string is equal to another string in Java, you should use matches. So we use dot matches and then the empty string. Just like that. So if you try to use the double equals, that does work in some circumstances, but here we need to use dot matches and then the empty string. So let's try that again. Tap sign up, and now we get a username and password are required. Great. So now let's put in a new username and a new password and click sign up. And then let's have a quick look in the logs. Sign up successful, that looks promising. So now we'll jump over to Firefox and have a quick refresh. We should have a new user, there we go, with the right username in our user class. And then we can actually do a test for an error just by clicking sign up again, because now there should already be a user with that username. Excellent, so we get a nice error message as well. Great, so now our sign-up system is working fine. We just need to add the facility to log in as well. And the way I'm going to do that is to add the facility to change this from a sign-up form to a login form. Now we could do that via a button, but then having two buttons that do such different things but look so similar would be a bit strange. So what I'm going to do is bring in a text view just to the right of the sign up button. Just scroll around, there we go, like that. And this text view is going to have an ID of change sign up mode text view, and the text is going to be or login. There we go. I'm just going to move it slightly to the right, a little bit away from the button. You can see it's nicely positioned relative to the button. The other thing I'm going to do is just change its color a little so it looks like something that you might click rather than just some text. So click on the three dots, color, and I'll go for that dark blue there. There we go. And then get rid of the properties and just copy the ID because I'll need that. So we have made a text view interactive before, but if you don't remember how to do it, don't worry. We do it using the general onClick method. And to use that, we need to implement view.onClickListener. And we can now use the general onClick method. And this method will now be called whenever there is a tap anywhere on the screen. And we want to check, you can see this is going to be called by a view. We want to check to see if the view was the or login text view. So we can do that by looking at the ID of the view that was tapped. So view.getID and see if that's equal to resources.id.change signup mode text view. And for now, let's just log under app info, change signup mode. So just to be sure that that connection is all wired up correctly and that this method is being called. And then just before we run that, in the onCreate method, we need to add an onClick listener to our text view. So let's create a text view which we'll call change signup mode text view. And this is going to be a text view using find view by ID resources.id.change signup mode text view. And then we're going to change signup mode text view and we're going to set an onClick listener. And the listener is just this, i.e. this activity, because this has got this onClick method within it. Okay, so now we've applied our onClick listener to our change signup mode text view. And we are checking, just to be very sure, even though the text view is the only thing with an onClick listener, we are still verifying that it is indeed the text view that's been tapped. So let's have a look. Once this is up and running, we're going to change our code so that when the text view is tapped, it changes sign up to login, and we're going to have a boolean to essentially store the state of the app to tell us whether we're in sign up mode or login mode. For now though, let's just check that that's working, and it is. Wonderful. Okay, so now we'll need our boolean, as I mentioned. So let's create our boolean variable, and I'll call it signup mode active. And initially, we'll set it to be true. Okay, so now we'll check to see if signup mode active is true. Or in fact, we can make that even neater and just use signup mode active itself, as it is a boolean. So if it is, we want to do a few things. First, we'll change the sign up button text to login. So the ID is sign up button. So let's get that. So we're going to need a button called sign up button, which is going to be a button using find view by ID. and then the ID is r.id.signup button. And in fact, we're going to need that either way. So I'm going to define that out here. And while we're defining things, we're also going to need this change signup mode text view. So actually what I'll do is I'll define it out here so we can access it from both locations. And then if the signup mode is active, we want to change to login mode. So first we'll set signup mode active to false. Then we'll take our signup button and set the text to login. And then we'll change our signup mode text view, and we'll set the text for that to or, sign up. So those three commands combined should change us from signup mode to login mode. And if signup mode is not active, then we need to do essentially the opposite of those three. So switch from login mode to signup mode. So signup mode active becomes true again. We use signup for the text of the signup button, and or, login for the text view. Alright, so let's just check that all works. And once we've done that, we've only got one thing left to do, and that is change our signup method to check to see whether we're in signup mode or login mode, and sign up or login accordingly. And here we go, so let's give it a try. Tap the or login, and there we go. So you can see that switches nicely for the user. Now let's do our check over here. So we're going to want to check for the presence of a username and a password either way. So it's only here that we want to see if we're in sign up mode or not. And if we are, we'll run our sign up process, or if not, we'll now write our login code. So hopefully you remember this. Parse user.login in background, and then we'll start with the username. So that's username edit text dot get text dot to string. Then the password. So password edit text dot get text dot to string, and then a callback. So a new login callback. Here we go. So again, I'm going to check for the existence of a user. And for now, we'll just login successful. And if that's not the case, then we'll do the same as before. So send the message of the exception. Alright, so let's have a look. We should now have a complete sign up or login system using Parse Server. Alright, so let's try out a login. First we'll try a blank one. Excellent, that looks good. Then we'll try one that won't work. Login and invalid username password. Brilliant. And now I have to try and remember what I set for my username and password. Login. So it looks like that's worked. Let's have a look. Login successful. Wonderful. So you now have a sign up and login system that could be used for absolutely any app. So feel free to use this as a basis for any app that you're making that requires a sign up or a login. Okay, we're now going to divert slightly from our Instagram app and just improve this login and sign up setup in a couple of ways. So first, I'd like the user to be able to remove this keyboard when they tap elsewhere on the screen. Just in case this keyboard hides the login button, that means that they wouldn't be able to log in. And secondly, I'm going to make it so that when we tap the tick button there, it actually attempts the login process. So it's more of a natural flow for a login app. We'll see how to do both of those things in the next video.